Have you heard the phrase, so bad it's good? Well, this can apply to intervals as well. In this video, I'm going to show you how to find and play seventh intervals on your piano, plus how they relate to musical chords. If we haven't met before, I'm Rosemarie Penner, piano teacher and composer at Must Love Music. In my studio, we love to make music, and I'm guessing you're the same because you clicked on this video. Part of music making is really playing with other musicians. So when you play piano with others, you learn simple key musical terms while playing and also do it in an interactive and fun way. Well, you make a lot quicker progress. And I'll share later how we can help you get started on that a little faster. So what are intervals? Well, they are a shorthand way of describing how far apart notes are on the piano or any instrument, including your voice. And it also appears in written music. Now, it's much easier to say the name of an interval than to say, play the 16th note and then the 26th note. By the way, for those of you who have been following along on this series, I'd like you to pause, find those notes on your piano, so count white keys and black keys, and then let me know in the comments, what is that interval? I think it'll be really interesting to see what you write down. If you haven't seen our previous videos, wow, you're coming in towards the end of our intervals. You totally can do this, but you might be missing out. So we have done previous videos on second and third intervals, fourth and fifth intervals, plus last week's sixth intervals video. Be sure to check the videos in the description. We're going to definitely be referring to those. So if you're feeling a little lost, that's a good place to start. So what are seventh intervals? Well, here's a few examples of what they might sound like on the piano. Now, those might not sound great. We're going to get into the good in a moment. Let me know in the comments, did what I just played, did that sound complete, or did it sound like it needed an extra note? Like second, third, and sixth intervals, seventh intervals come in major and minor versions. These are closely related to chords, specifically chords we use often in blues and jazz music. Now, we hear this interval at the beginning of a few songs. A minor version, I'd like you to tell me if you can figure out what the name of this one is. This might help you out. If you guessed the chorus of The Winner Takes It All by ABBA, congratulations. If my husband is watching this, I know you love ABBA. He doesn't love ABBA. But this is a minor version. And in fact, almost all of those were minor seventh intervals. So, okay. And we want to resolve it. And last one. And then they resolve it. So that's kind of cool. Now, a major version of this, see if you can guess what it is. For any of these, just let me know in the comments if you've guessed what the song is, okay? All right, do you know what song it was? If you guessed Don't Know Why by Norah Jones, absolutely. Now, this one is interesting in that it actually uses seventh chords. We're not going to really go into them too much in this video, but they're using elements of seventh intervals, specifically in the left hand in the accompaniment pattern a lot, but that right? So we've got a major seventh interval there. So that makes it sound really, really cool. And just like our fourth and sixth intervals, like I mentioned, we hear these another way, and that is with those seventh chords. So let's take a look at what a seventh interval might look like. However, what we're going to do is we're going to use some gems just to show what these might look like on the piano. I'm going to start with an F major chord. Here we go. So I've got F, A, and C. And this is something that we've done before, but we're going to go a little bit further because obviously from here to here, we've already learned this is a fifth interval. So we need to go a little bit further. The most common way to hear a seventh interval is actually within what's called a seventh chord. These may have 4 notes, kind of like what I'm showing here, or they could actually have less notes where they're just not showing all of these. The 3 main versions that we hear are a major seventh. In this case, we've got our F major chord and then the major seventh. So in the F major key, we've got an E. With our major seventh, from F to E is a major seventh interval. A dominant seventh, this is by far the most common. We actually have what's called a major chord and then the minor seventh. So what I'm talking about is from our bottom note to our top note, that's the minor seventh. We can also make this an F minor chord with a minor seventh, and that's what's called a minor seventh. By far though, this is the most common, our dominant seventh. If you need to, pause, try these out, find these on your piano, just so you can have a sense of what each of these sounds like. So a fun little fact here, these chords that I've just shown you, I showed you 3 of them, but there's actually 5 seventh chords. We're not going to go through all of them in this video, but if it's something you're interested in, let me know in the comments and I will work on getting that video ready. So I like to make sure that my students, they hear these chords fairly early on, because when we are learning chords, we really understand music well, and it allows us to start playing music a lot faster. One of the very best ways that we can practice something is to improvise with it, to test it out on the piano. What I'm going to do is a couple things. In my right hand, I'll give you an example where I'm going to play the seventh interval and then resolve it, just like we've seen in a couple other examples. And in my left hand, I'm actually going to play, it's a root position chord, but then I'm going to play what's a dominant seventh chord. It's just not going to look or sound a little as much like the ones that we've done before, because I'm not going to play all of the notes from it. You may find that as you're testing this out, it's easier to just play seventh intervals in the right hand or left hand, depending on what you prefer, and then seeing how you can go from unresolved to resolved, right? So again, you could move down or up. So go ahead and try it out. Pause and come back. Let me know how it goes. So what is it about these seventh intervals? You know, they're so bad they're good. Well, seventh intervals can be major or minor, like actually many of the intervals we've already looked at. They're closely related to the outside notes of seventh chords. And while there are 5 types of chords that we use seventh intervals, aka those seventh chords, the dominant seventh is the most common version of it that we see in Western music. And lastly, remember, the best way to learn something is to experiment with it, try it out. Use this as a way to create your own little mini songs. Now in this video, I was only able to do a really quick overview of what seventh intervals are and the many options that we hear them. In my studio, we have a lot more time to explore these and to be able to play around with them in a way that you can learn them on a deeper level. So to help you jumpstart your piano playing, I'm hosting a 3-week intro, as in a beginner session, and these start August 6th. I would love to see you there. Go ahead and click the link in the description. By the way, do you have any questions about seventh intervals? What was your favorite way to play them? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you, and thank you so much for watching.